another weekend of erratic power supply.
So the challenges is what we are dealing with. And all I can say is plead with God.
Of power infrastructure upgrade projects blamed for the power cuts.
The expected date is by the end of the year. We should have a full 330 line from.
Project is expected to be completed by September 2021.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Gasem Cement, the nation builder, as well as Gym Minister Matthew Poku-Prempeh has been on a charm offensive, making a desperate plea for ongoing power infrastructure upgrades in both Accra and Kumasi. But after another tour today by the completion of the projects, which may also affect when you can expect to have reliable power supply. So, of course, you can plan your lives with that, around that, if you're actually here on Top Story. So stay with us for that. But I want to first listen to Matthew Poku-Prempeh, taking on the suggestions.
Be truthful in our communication. In 2016, the whole country, they gave us periods that we were off. Government don't have the money to buy fuel. And this is not a generation problem. This is not about fuel. So how could that? Is that what we are saying? No. Some of the system, because of the challenges, the reason why we can enjoy the improvement we so desire.
So do you want to tell the public that
what is happening in the country? We have systems where lights are flickering, voltages are low. Sometimes, like it happened over the system upgrade, that is ongoing. So the challenges is what we are dealing with. And all I can say...
just before burying, but there is a fundamental question that has also been asked in the Matthew Poku-Prempeh, the energy minister, categorically denying that Gridco is broke.
Because they are doing the project, we can all see. So if what does finance come in? So it's not about finances. It's just that if you are renovating your house, sometimes it's more complicated and it's more expensive. The power it was supposed to transmit, Accra has expanded tremendously. So they are giving us power.
So within the foreseeable future, will there be other infrastructure upgrades needed to sustain power supply?
All over the country.
Okay, so that's the energy minister they're talking about in power supply to your homes, categorically declaring that. We'll get detail. What exactly is happening with the works that are currently ongoing? For which reason you may be experiencing?
Stringing the line because you have to tension the line. That's why you see them hanging over there. That water substation in Temahia and Accra, it will increase it from about abundancy. If you have such high capacity, it means that you can take off any of the adjacent lines and nobody will feel that something has. We might have to take off load maybe in Accra East Legon or somewhere near Achimota. But when this line is the load, so we have increased reliability with the construction of this line. So they can happen at any time. But even if they happen, the customer should not feel it. And that is why we are doing these projects.
On leading with the upgrades, also explaining today during the tour by the minister.
Whenever we are constructing, sometimes obstacles like houses. But for the UCG line, because it is also an electrical system, we must make it and people must suffer from that. And so if we go to a place called on the Oponglo Road, that's precisely, and therefore when we reach that location, definitely we are going to request for an outage. And so all those people who are being served by these four circuits will be taken off for a period of time.
The incident over the weekend happened, which is the latest in a series of power cuts that has left you outraged. Today will be completed because it's important to know when it will be completed so you can plan with your life and for when these upgrades here in Accra, because there are two different projects happening, the Greater Accra one and there's also some has been expecting. Last week, Gridco was very consistent in stating that they expect the completion of those projects. Director for Gridco. Okay, so this is first quarter, you say. The timeline is to finish all these upgrades by
the challenges that are causing some of the intermittent issues in the value chain.
So that's July, he says, and his boss.
June, July, when all these projects are being completed, Ghanaians will now.
The director of engineering at Gridco, Mr. Usefriye, gives a different timeline for the completion.
By September 2021, all things being equal.
September 2021. But just last week, it was July, very firmly, both by the corporate communications director 21. And so, how do you reconcile that? If you're this country, you know they're seeing that playing out here. We want to get some clarity on this from the officials. We've been trying to work the lines to get clarity when exactly Kumasi. 2 weeks ago, again, Gridco put out a timeline for the completion of because it is overloaded and they are fixing it right now. So when would that end? This is 2 weeks ago.
But until that, we will still have Kumasi to bear with us.
End of June, middle of August. That was from August all the way to the end of the year.
And Tamale to Bogatanga, those two areas have been completed. They have a full 330 line from Kumasi all the way to the north.
To people planning their lives, but also what the public can expect in terms of what the works can plan. Businesses can plan their lives and get some normalcy. Let's bring in energy analyst Kojo Poku was a deputy minister at a time when we have arguably our longest period of. You had these timelines both for the completion of the projects in Accra and Kumasi, and as an expert, what are you thinking?
The Gridco board said August in Kumasi. During engineering projects, there are things that happen. You can't always plan to the T. Now, if you are going strictly by the deadline, Gridco has now given a date, which they now put it as August, September. Have to look at any other problem that comes as a result of that completion. Are there any transformers? Because now, just to be sure that he doesn't come up and repeat the Gridco deadline, and then be seen that after Gridco, all things being equal, Gridco will finish earlier, ECG will mop up and do the necessary work they need to get. They are assuring the people of Kumasi that for Kumasi.
So for clarity for Kumasi, what you're saying is that because Gridco deals with the
transmission,
that will have what, September, October, November, four months?
September, yes. And then ECG deadline might even prolong a month or decade because you never know what work ECG would have to do after Gridco is done. So basically, ECG step down because bear in mind, you have a 330. What ECG works on 6 to 7 kV lines, going through Kumasi, through Kintampo to other areas. So there are some rearrangement and some configuration, which is a bit technical for me, but for guaranteeing the people of Ashanti region that by December, our work will be done.
Okay, so based on that brief.
No, they should work for the Gridco timeline for the work done by Gridco.
No, I mean, I asked that because, for the customer, is based on the ECG timeline.
From their end, they will give themselves to December 5.
Okay, let's come to Greater Accra then. Greater Accra,
the Greater Accra
here in July. But today, the Director of Engineering at Gridco, Mr. Usefriye, says September, which is...
I'm hearing that for the first time on your network, and I've not had time to consult. But the good thing is that, as you are aware, on Thursday, the media is going to have the opportunity to interrogate these two people to the letter. In real time, we can get the two engineers or the two management to reconfirm the PRO has said July and an engineer is saying September.
Is there cause for concern there for you, knowing the
timelines in terms of when project deadlines are supposed to be? In every engineering project, there is a that presentation has been done to the management. The management will know that either completion is in July and the engineer is saying September.
Okay.
So, like I said, we'll have the opportunity to interrogate that further on Thursday.
Stay with me because there's a question about whether Mr. John Jinapo. Mr. Jinapo, the completion of the upgrades. You've been there before. You listened to the changing timeline from the engineers to the bosses at Gridco.
The energy sector is in disarray, and I think that there is a kind of letter to a ranking member requesting of him to summon the power sector players, not invite them, to summon them, you have to go through about a year long of erratic power supply. We've always been upgrading the system. Why didn't we tell Ghanaians that because we are upgrading transmission lines, you are going to have erratic supply of power, not inform Ghanaians? It had to take you, the media, to keep insisting and informing the people that, and for me that is very important, that Gridco is upgrading the line from 161 to 330. Down idling till August when the transmission lines are upgraded, then they will begin to work. Simple project, you can synchronize your work so that by the time the 330 is ready, you can then pick it and feed it to customers. Why do you need about 6 months, shouldn't it? That is the reality on the ground, that the lines are congested because of poor investment. And the Gridco board said it way back in 2018, that by the end of this period, we are going to pay for it. That is what we are experiencing.
The energy minister today addressed that question about finance. He was categorical.
The AVA line should have been completed more than 2 years ago. The energy minister should give us a break. The Agent France, the balance sheet of Gridco, because Gridco was financially healthy and financially stable, their financial ratios were so good or more, withheld the release of the facility. 2 years, the project is like, is the minister telling us seek for a guarantee before the money was released? He wasn't in parliament. What is the minister telling us? That we don't know what we're about it. That Gridco's financial situation is so bad, so much so that they cannot even continue. Lines don't get congested overnight. They build up. And what were they doing all these years? There's a major trip. What kind of cock and bull story is this? Please, you should give us
There has to be someone. Clarify that for me.
I'm saying that I'm writing to the chairman of the committee. Yes, ought to be summoned. And I'm not saying invited. Summoned before the Mines and Energy Committee. Because we represent their job. I'm not against that. But I'm saying that we are representatives of you, the people of Ghana. And we have someone different timelines. That is not what we want. We want concrete information so that we can hold them to account as a committee.
The Institute for Energy Policies and Research, in collaboration with the Africa Center for Energy Policies, organizing a So this key question about the finances of Gridco, very briefly, it keeps coming back. He stands really with its finances?
Oh, I don't think the Gridco finance, we've had them come out 2 years ago. The unions came out and basically said that money to run your day-to-day and money to embark on investment, because every company needs to have quickly do investment, upgrade their machines. I don't think it's really money to do day-to-day.
Okay.
Great in Togo and all those Burkina Faso and stuff like that. So they do get.
But it uses that money for. I mean, I'm grateful, Mr. Kojo-Poku. I mean, this definitely is a question that we're looking to get some answers for this forum. This is on the 8th. This is Thursday. At the Labadi Beach Hotel. Starts shortly.
I forgot my boss say in client come, but I don't get credit on my phone. I go use your phone. Don't